In this video, I'm going to go over the InputMapper and how you can use it to remap the triggers for events using your keyboard or other Unity input. So to start this up, I have this event set up so when you press A, the key goes down, and when you release it, the key goes up. But now you notice over here, I actually have an event set up that when you release the key, it triggers a remapping using the InputMapper. Right now, it's trying to remap 3 events: when the key goes down, when the key is being pressed, and when the key is released upwards. So I'm going to hit a button, my space bar, and it's going to automatically remap to that button, because right now it's waiting for the next input based off of the down, up, and pressed. So now it says input space over here. Now if I hit my space bar, the button goes down. I release it, the button goes up. And now that event is triggered once again for remapping. So now it's trying to remap the button again. I'm going to press Shift F. Now you notice on the left, those objects are gone, and it's now mapped to Shift F. So if I hit F, nothing happens. Shift, nothing happens. But if I press Shift F, it works. And of course, the remapping starts up again. I can do up arrow, I can do mouse button. So now I'll show you how you actually do that. It's pretty simple. In code, I have set up 3 events: a key down, a key pressed, and a key up. You notice it's just checking. This is a function that's saying, hey, is input.getKeyDown key A equal to true? If it is, this event will fire. This one is just get key, and this one is get key up. So these represent when the key goes down, if the key is being pressed down, and when the keys are released. And as you see right here, this is posting that message key down. So when I run it, key down, key up, that's these messages here. And you notice I commented this one out. And then I add these events to the manager. And now for the remapping is on that key up. So here I've put this function remap and I've registered it to the key up event. So when that key goes up, it'll trigger the remapping. And this is all it is: InputMapper.remap down, remap up, and remap pressed. So remap down will wait for a down key or a down button or an axis. I actually didn't show that to you. I'll show that to you right now. Scroll wheel up. So you can actually do axes as well. The remap up will wait for a button or a key to be up, and the pressed will wait for one to be pressed. The event that it takes is the first parameter. This is a callback function. So event, primary, and modifier. So primary would be like your A key. Modifier would be like shift key. Those are customizable as you want. And then other parameters in here are some other things. So like this has to do with management of the channels. This is, let's see. That has to do, oh yeah, that's InputMapper. Remapping inputs are the keys that you can map to. So you can set, by default, it's set up so that every key code that's in Unity is set up as a key that you can remap to, except for Shift, Alt, Control, Command, and Alt-GR, which are set up as modifiers, and the mouse 0, which is your left click, and your mouse 1, which is your right click, are not set up as inputs that are possible. If you want to, you can actually add those, and you can also add buttons. Oh yeah, and mouse scroll wheel up and mouse scroll wheel down are by default in there. But you can remove those or add those if you want as well using the InputMapper. So I can actually show you right here. InputMapper dot acceptable inputs, or I can do add primary, add modifier. So there's a bunch of implementations for this. Like that's an axis that you can add, a button that you can add, or a key that you can add, or shortcuts to creating those. So when you press that A key and this remap function goes on, this will attempt to remap those. It'll create those objects that'll wait for the next key. And when the next key that's valid occurs, it'll remap that it'll remap the trigger of the event that's passed in to the button that's been done. So if it's a key, it'll remap it to the input dot get key down, get key up, and then the key code for the key. If it's a button, it'll remap it to get button down, get button up. And if it's an axis, depending on whether it's like a positive or negative value, it'll remap it to get axis greater than 0 or less than 0. And then here's just that callback. Callback takes the event, the primary, and the modifier. I'll actually show you what happens when you hit Shift F with this. I think it's interesting to see the modifier values come through and the primary ones. So here I'll do that, and I'll do Shift F. So now I'm in here. We see this event is key down, so this is the key down event. The primary button is F, and the modifier is left shift. And you can actually, I think the callback might happen before the trigger is set. You're not, yeah, I think so. This is completely irrelevant, but yeah. So this is a callback. You can use this. What I'm thinking about with this callback was like if you had a menu open and it said like your crouch button is control, and you want to remap that, and you remapped it to say C. This would be a callback that would say, hey, this event's been remapped to C, and then what you can do on your side is be like, okay, well, I'm going to set the text in the menu to C, or I'm going to set it to left shift. This text is also customizable, so if I actually show you in here, InputMapper, add primary, let's see if I can do it this way. InputMapper button, so like button. So this is actually the name of the button, the actual Unity button itself, and the state, which is up, down, or pressed. What that means you could do is like funny bunny. This could be jump. This could be down. So now when you press the jump button down, it'll return back as the primary button, funny bunny. By default, all the key codes are set just to their key values, and the modifiers as well. In fact, the only one that's taking advantage of that right now is the mouse scroll wheel, because the mouse scroll wheel looks like something like this. Direction positive. Yeah, so the mouse scroll wheel looks like this. That's why if I show you in debugging, I can show you that the can't change code like that. So I show you here, mouse scroll wheel up. And that's how remapping works. It's pretty simple. It's just hit it with this method. You probably aren't going to do 3 of them at the same time. This is purely for example. I imagine you probably be doing either the remap down or the remap up. I suppose you could do remap pressed might be one that you're using if like it's a move forward or like strafe left. You could have it the press because you want that to be firing every single time that's down. Say, hey, I should be moving left, or strafing. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out the other examples if any of this stuff confuses you. There's like 14 or 15 examples. I'm going to be doing another one soon to just go over the basics. And I hope you enjoy.